You know the feeling, when the team captains are choosing sides and you're standing there watching names get called. Not yours, not yet. Maybe it happened in childhood, maybe it's happening now. You're included, but you're never chosen. There's a difference, and your nervous system knows it. The weight you carry. Here's what most people don't understand. Being consistently second choice doesn't just hurt your feelings, it rewires your brain. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger discovered that social rejection activates the same brain regions as physical pain. The anterior cingulate cortex lights up. Your brain experiences exclusion as a threat to survival. Because for most of human history, it was. But there's something deeper happening when you're the perpetual backup plan. You develop what psychologist Karen Horney called basic anxiety, a fundamental feeling that the world is potentially hostile, and you are fundamentally alone in it. The invisible architecture. You've built an entire psychology around not being first. Let's look at what it creates. Hypervigilance in relationships. You're constantly scanning for signs you're about to be replaced. Every unanswered text becomes evidence. Every canceled plan confirms what you already suspected. Your amygdala, your brain's threat detection center, becomes oversensitive. Not because you're broken, because it's trying to protect you. If you can predict rejection, maybe you can prevent it. Spoiler, you can't. But your brain keeps trying. Preemptive self-diminishing. You've learned to make yourself smaller before someone else does it for you. In meetings, you soften your ideas. In relationships, you minimize your needs. You become an expert at taking up less space. Psychologist Kristen Neff calls this self-criticism as a safety strategy. If you reject yourself first, their rejection won't land as hard. Chronic overfunctioning. You work twice as hard to earn half the consideration. You're the friend who always initiates, the partner who always accommodates, the employee who stays late while others leave on time. Researcher Harriet Lerner identified this as relationship pursuing. You chase connection because waiting feels like disappearing. But here's where the psychology gets interesting. What if this pattern isn't about your worth? What if it's about your timing? Psychologist Carl Rogers talked about organismic valuing, the idea that every person has an internal compass pointing toward what's right for them. When someone doesn't choose you first, their compass isn't malfunctioning. It's just pointing somewhere else. That says nothing about your value. It says everything about compatibility. Developmental psychologist Erik Erikson studied how identity forms through social mirroring. But he found something crucial. The people who truly see you aren't always the ones closest to you. Sometimes they're the ones who arrive later, after you've stopped performing, after you've stopped trying to be chosen. The mechanism behind the pattern. There's a psychological principle called intermittent reinforcement. It's one of the most powerful behavior shapers in neuroscience. Here's how it works. When you're sometimes chosen, just not first, your brain gets hooked on the inconsistency. Random rewards create stronger attachments than consistent ones. Behavioral psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered this accidentally. Pigeons would peck a lever thousands of times for occasional food, far more than pigeons who got food every time. You're not weak for staying in situations where you're the backup plan. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do, chasing the variable reward, the hope that this time will be different. But there's another mechanism at play. The self-concept loop. Psychologist William James described the self as partly constructed through the reflected appraisals of others. How others treat you becomes how you treat yourself. If you're consistently treated as optional, you begin to experience yourself as optional. This creates what cognitive scientists call a confirmation bias feedback loop. You expect to be second choice, so you notice evidence that confirms it, and miss evidence that contradicts it. Your brain isn't lying to you. It's just showing you what you're looking for. This isn't about positive thinking. It's about interrupting the pattern at the neurological level. Step 1. Name the somatic signature. Before you can change a pattern, you need to recognize it in your body. Where do you feel the not chosen sensation? Tightness in your chest? Hollowness in your stomach? Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio calls these somatic markers. They're your body's way of flagging familiar patterns. Start noticing them without judgment. Step 2. Separate past from present. Your nervous system is running old software. Psychologist Dan Siegel developed a technique called name it to tame it. When you feel the panic of being overlooked, pause. Say to yourself, this is my childhood pattern activating. This feeling belongs to then, not now. This simple act of naming creates neurological distance. It activates your prefrontal cortex, the part that can observe rather than just react. Step 3. Practice selective availability. Stop auditioning for people who haven't chosen you. Not out of bitterness, out of self-preservation. Psychologist Brené Brown calls this choosing discomfort over resentment. It's uncomfortable to step back, but it's devastating to keep performing for an audience that's looking elsewhere. Step 4. Build evidence of your own choosing. Your brain needs new data. Start making yourself your first choice. Keep the commitment when you say you'll rest. Protect the boundary when you say you need space. Follow through on the small promise you made to yourself. Psychologist Albert Bandura called this self-efficacy building. Every time you choose yourself, you create proof that you're worth choosing. Step 5. Redefine what chosen means. Maybe being first choice isn't the goal. Maybe being truly seen is. Being first often means being convenient, being closest, being familiar, being deeply chosen after someone knows who you really are. That's different. That requires you to stop hiding. Here's the model that holds it together. Think of your relational nervous system like a radio. Right now, it's tuned to a frequency called prove you're worth choosing. That frequency picks up every signal that confirms you're not enough. But there's another frequency available. Notice who chooses to stay. Not who you convince to stay, who wants to stay. After they've seen you anxious, after they've seen you uncertain, after you've stopped performing. Psychologist Sue Johnson, who developed emotionally focused therapy, found that secure attachment isn't built on being someone's first choice. It's built on being someone's consistent choice. Even when it's inconvenient, even when you're struggling, even when you're not your best self. The quiet truth. You are not too much. You are not too little. You are not second choice material. You've just been measuring yourself against people whose compasses were never meant to point toward you. The work isn't to become more choosable. The work is to stop abandoning yourself while you wait to be chosen. Because here's what changes everything. The moment you stop auditioning for people who aren't paying attention, you become available to those who've been trying to choose you all along. You are never the problem. You are just looking in the wrong direction. Start there. What pattern will you interrupt today?